This year, we've had a fantastic year with some wonderful projects and some equally surprising results. But before I begin, I'd like to recap on last year to show you just how far we've come. In order to do that, I need to cue some music and play a little video for you. Enactus Durham 2012. Last year, we had 4 active projects, and our first international project, and all of them are sustainable and still running today. Now, turning your attention to our local portfolio, we've been running the consulting project, the venue project, and the cookbook project. Looking at the consulting project in more detail, we've been working with 3 businesses this year, helping to engage students through forums and group and focus groups. And finally, the venue project has been working with the local needs organisation, working with 6 people, helping teach them the soft skills that they need. And finally, the cookbook project, our commercial project. The first edition will be launched in October 2013 for a reasonable £15, or for you, ma'am, £14.99. And finally, I'd like to introduce our 3 new international projects that we will be introducing today. Jennifer Chan will be introducing our first.
So, good morning, this is Jennifer, and I'm the project leader of Aspire to Inspire. With some of Enactus Durham's members being from Kenya, they wanted to make a difference in their home country. This year, we have started the Aspire to Inspire project, which aims to help educate teenagers in the Kibera slums of Kenya. Kibera has obtained the reputation of the worst slum in Africa, with a high unemployment rate being estimated at 50%. We performed a detailed needs assessment, asking local teenagers what skills and opportunities they think they're lacking. From this, we recognize that their needs are a lack of education and a lack of business experience. We partnered with the Kibera Implementers Foundation, who works with 15 to 18 years old in the Kibera slums. They helped us identify 250 students who are passionate with entrepreneurship. We prepared and delivered 7 workshops to 7 mentors in the foundation. These sessions cover simple business and economic concepts such as profit and loss or idea generation. By transferring the knowledge to the mentors, they have in turn taught the 250 students. We chose the train-the-trainer approach because it is by far the most sustainable and effective approach. The workshop curriculum focused on core interpersonal and business skills, aiming to build confidence for the students, as well as empowering them to be able to start their own business and thus get out of the poverty cycle. One business concept we chose to incorporate was corporate social responsibility, as we really want to reinforce the importance of giving back to the society in the future. The mentors and students all now have the capacity to take responsibility for their own long-term success. We have evaluated our impact using call-up surveys and testimonials. By participating in our project, they have all increased quality of life, they have more positive attitudes, increased confidence, and new aspirations. However, we want to empower them with also practical business experience. The students are currently taking part in a business competition where they'll pitch ideas and put their new farm skills into practice. We have collected 14 business proposals so far, and we hope to support as many startups as possible in the next few months. And we hope to see at least 60 future entrepreneurs in Kibera. Before we present our other 2 international projects, I would like to give you some background information, which is regarding the KEY project started last year. The KEY project was our first ever international project that's based in Kenya. The project worked with unemployed youth to teach them business concepts and skills needed to run a laundry business in the slums. This empowered 7 of the youth in the project to start their very own businesses. One of them, Wala from Uganda, was so empowered that he decided to partner with us to start another project this year, which we'll be presenting right now.
Grassroots is our project based in the Bududa region of Uganda that aims to empower local people to prevent and recover from landslides. June 2012 saw the 3rd consecutive year of landslides, which buried 3 villages and killed over 300 people. In a region where 70% of the population survives on less than $1 a day, their capacity to cope is low.
Talking to a devastated community, this is what we found.
The information was collated in a detailed research report which highlights the clear needs of the community. Some communities have lost everything, their houses, their agricultural livelihoods, and yet some their families. How could we prevent further landslides, and in doing so, help to break the cycle of poverty with a community-driven yet sustainable system? Vetiver grass.
Not only does it help prevent landslides, but it provides a foundation for future economic benefit that the people of Baduda can use for years to come. But what's so special about the grass? After all, it's just grass, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. Vetiver is a grass species with an expansive root system that promotes soil stabilisation by reducing erosion and removing excess moisture. Ultimately, this reduces the initiation and development of landslides. Yet, this grass is also drought, fire and frost resistant.
We took the decision to partner with the Kenyan NGO, the Vetiver Network International. Through this partnership, we were able to gain access to specialised knowledge and skills and a means of sourcing the vetiver grass.
To ensure total sustainability, we collaborated with the village chief, who would help us better understand the attitude of the community and the project's social implications.
We also thought about the environmental implications of introducing a non-native species to the region. We contacted the Ugandan Agricultural Department, and with their approval, we obtained the first ever permit to import, plant, and distribute vetiver grass in Uganda.
This year, we've collaborated with Vetiver International to create detailed educational packages which include specific agricultural business concepts about planting and harvesting vetiver grass.
All of this knowledge was transferred through our partners on the ground through a series of workshops, which up to date has engaged 12 farmers. We regularly Skype Waller and the village leader to ensure progress of this style of training.
£900 was initially invested into the project, which gave the community the capacity to purchase and import 4,000 vetiver shoots.
The 12 farmers were empowered with the new techniques and knowledge to plant the grass shoots independently. Our nursery has now been established for 2 months, and the grass is becoming effective in the stabilisation of the soil.
In 2 weeks, the grass will be ready for harvesting and replanting on the hill slopes most at risk from landslides. In 2 weeks, we will have educated the farmers and the wider community in an innovative system that will significantly reduce the risks and impacts of landslides.
To sustain the purchase of further shoots, there needs to be a financial return from the project. We're taking an entrepreneurial approach in the next phase of the project. This will see us turn the grass into earning potential for the farmers, and in doing so, respond to their need of a steady income into the future.
Once harvested, vetiver can be used for thatching, textiles and handicrafts. However, we've found that vetiver is also be used as a cooking fuel in their clay ovens and by extracting the essential oils as an antibacterial sanitizer.
The grass can be compacted by hand for fuel briquettes for cooking. This alleviates the pressure on the forest to supply wood as a fuel source. Alternatively, the essential oils can be easily processed from the harvested grass and then combined with readily available materials to make soap wash.
After the last landslide, cholera became prevalent and a lack of effective sanitation still remains. The antibacterial properties of vetiver oil make it a good barrier against pathogenic disease. Once the grass is long enough, it will be harvested and provide 12 farmers with a new income stream and increased standard of living by selling the fuel briquettes and soaps in the community.
This year, we have empowered 12 farmers with new agricultural concepts, provided an innovative solution to improve over 3,000 people by protecting them in the future from landslides.
A brighter future for the people of Uganda has its roots in vetiver.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to introduce to you the Brighter Futures project. Following on from the key project in the Kibera slum, we began to look into the possibility of other sustainable businesses in Kenya.
This year, 6 of the men felt so empowered from the key project that they wanted to tackle their own needs in the slum. Given the local knowledge and expertise the men had, we collaborated with them to look into some of the most pressing needs in the slum with a realistic potential for the setup of a new scheme which offered a viable solution.
The men formed a needs assessment which consisted of surveying and interviewing the local community. They found a severe lack of light within houses, schools and other establishments, and They found a reliance on paraffin lamps, which are toxic, expensive, and environmentally damaging.
We then learned about the solar bottle product, which has successfully been used in the Philippines. This product drew our attention immediately, for it is cheap, easily implemented, and uses renewable energy of the sun.
The product consists of a plastic bottle with 10% bleach and 90% water, which is then installed into the roofs of houses. When the sunlight passes through the liquid content, the chemical reaction creates a glowing light, equivalent to a 55-watt light bulb.
We trained 3 of the men about the installation process, which involved using internet video examples and Skype calls to discuss the method. Enactus Durham then began to work on the setting up of a scheme to grow it into a fully fledged business. The other 3 men were taught sound business and economic concepts, which included the transfer of skills from the key project.
We provided a grant of £300 to the men, which has gone into the purchase of materials, making rent, and holding marketing forums. We took an entrepreneurial approach to check the viability of the business model before launching the business. Firstly, we made a social consideration to understand the perceptions of the community and potential customers. We hosted 2 forums in which a number of people from the local community were invited and informed about the project. This allowed us to gauge interest from the public and see how they would feel about the project, which installs a product in their houses.
Secondly, we completed a pilot study where the men got to practice the installation process. The first bottles were installed in Kenya in September 2012 in a home in the Kibera slum, and were found to be both practical and realistic to implement in the context of the area. As such, this confirmed that the business scheme was viable.
After working through certain logistics and incorporating costs of materials, labour and other considerations, the cost of each bottle was settled at £1. The breakdown includes a 74 pence for the cost of materials and 26 pence for the profit.
Despite the relatively low profit margin per bottle, economic considerations of the target population required us to settle on a price reasonable for the socio-economically deprived communities. And with the group's new marketing and business knowledge, they were empowered to make their own independent decisions. They established a small office which acts as the headquarters for the business, and also created a website to advertise their services.
To evaluate their progress, we also continual reports of how many bottles have been installed, accompanied by account statements of how much has been spent on purchasing the necessary materials.
The quantitative results which have been achieved are the installation of 250 bottles to date. We recognize that the solar bottle technology only works in daylight hours. However, once they are installed, they provide a completely free source of light. This means halving the household's reliance on paraffin lamps and giving them instant savings.
Now this improves the quality of life and the standard of living by saving families up to $3.5 per week, equivalent to 54% of their weekly income. Quality of life can be said to have improved as well, as 100 people are now able to have a safer and healthier source of light, which eases their day-to-day tasks, such as cooking and cleaning.
As for the 6 solar bottle entrepreneurs, their income have increased by around 65% each, which has increased their standard of living. They have said that this will go into their personal savings from which they would hope to save for education, or perhaps to eventually earn enough to move to larger homes, which could increase their quality of life.
Now, Enactus Durham also wanted to install solar bottles within schools, free of charge. In order to achieve this, we sought sponsorship funding. We have secured funding of $31,000, which will allow the group to fully light 1,600 schools over the next 2 years.
And now, to conclude, just in case you missed the points, the Aspire to Inspire project has empowered 7 teachers who have gone on to inspire and impact 250 students. Whilst the Grassroots project has gone on to empower 12 farmers and who have gone on to impact 30 more people, saving the lives of thousands. And finally, the Brightening Futures project has taught 6 solar entrepreneurs how to install solar bottles, impacting the lives of hundreds of people and soon thousands of children. And finally, the conclusion.